Hi everyone, it's time for another episode of Atoms for the Love of Movie Picks. This time around, we're going to be talking about the 2019 film A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, starring Tom Hanks. This movie has a few well known actors in it. Matthew Rhys as Lloyd Vogel, Chris Cooper as Jerry Vogel, and Enrico Colante as Bill Eisler. That's about the extent of the ones that I recognize in this film. Basically, the premise, and I'll just read out the back. Tom Hanks portrays Mr. Rogers, the real life TV beloved children's TV host Fred Rogers. In A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, a timely story of kindness triumphing over cynicism, based on the true story of a real life friendship between Fred Rogers and journalist Tom Junod. Basically, that's who the character of Boyle, that's right, Lloyd Vogel is based on, is this real life journalist Tom Junod. After a jaded magazine writer uh, is assigned a profile of Fred Rogers, he overcomes skepticism, learning about kindness, love, and forgiveness from America's most beloved neighbor. So for me, this is one of my favorite movies. That it's come along in a while. It's everybody. Well, I'd say almost anybody who's ever watched television. As a child, from I think it was like the 1970s to basically I think it was the early 2000s, knows who Mr. Rogers is, or Fred Rogers. From the TV show. Just a beloved man, and one of those rare people that he is in real life as he is on TV. A kind man, believes in being kind to others, treating everybody equally, showing love and respect, and, treating everyone like they're your neighbor, basically. Um, what I really love about this movie, though, is Tom Hanks' portrayal of Mr. Rogers. It's uncanny how well he portrays Mr. Rogers. I mean, he looks like Mr. Rogers. He dresses like Mr. Rogers. I mean, obviously they picked the costumes out for him, but it suits him to a T. The mannerism, he's nailed down Mr. Rogers' mannerisms almost perfectly. It's so spot on. And it's not an easy thing to do because Mr. Rogers has a very unique way that he talks. He has a very soft, kind, genuine, unique tone to his voice. And he has a tendency to repeat things. And it's just not an easy thing to do. But I mean, if you put them like a clip of Mr. Rogers side by side, like with the same basically line as that Tom Hanks would be reading, and you close your eyes, you couldn't tell one from the other. Like you played the one clip and then you played the other clip right after. You couldn't tell one from the other. It's so well done. It's an insult that this man did not get an award for this role. I know he got nominated, but he never won for it, which just blows my mind. But yeah, I just love the movie. It's got a great message behind it. Like I said, the things that Mr. Rogers stands for, just showing a little bit of who he was. Kind of later on in his life, he died, and I think it was the mid 2000s. Unfortunately, very before his time. The movie is based in the late 90s. At that period of time, I guess that's when this, Tom Junod had interviewed him, and yeah, it just kind of shows him, all the things that he stood for, and it was neat to just kind of see his world from a different light. And there's some good songs in this too that kind of set the mood. You've got "On the Road to Find Out" by Cat Stevens. Very brief clip in this movie, but it's a catchy tune. And then you've also got a more emotional song. I believe it's called "The Promise" by Tracy Chapman. Just at a very emotional point in the movie, it's a very good song for that particular point in the movie. The actors, the different actors in the movie, doing their different roles, portray it very well. Like Chris Cooper as Jerry Vogel, Lloyd Vogel's father. It's a very tainted relationship. It's kind of, now I don't know how much of this is based on fact. If this is happened with Tom Junod or not, I didn't really get into the research that much. But even if they just made up the story for the movie, it really works to kind of set the movie, and really have Mr. Rogers delve very in depth and personally into Lloyd's personal life and his tainted relationship with his father. You can really feel the tension and the anger that Lloyd has between and towards his father. And Chris Cooper, does a very good job of portraying the father. It's a great overall movie. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is, and again, I don't know if this is based off a real thing. I assume it was just because of how genuine the moment was. But there's a scene where Lloyd is in New York. Well, he lives in New York, but Fred happens to be in New York at this time, and he goes to interview Fred. And as they're going to wherever he's going to do the interview, they're on a subway car in New York, and a bunch of kids start singing, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood to Mr. Rogers, and pretty soon the whole subway car is singing it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood to him. It's just a very cool scene, one you can almost picture happening. I'm sure something like that probably did happen to Mr. Rogers. So definitely recommend A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood if you've never seen it before. It's a great film. It is just like I said, Tom Hanks's performance as Mr. Rogers is what really sets this film apart. I cannot see anybody else other than him portraying this role. It really is what makes the movie. Great storyline too, and like I said, the acting is on point all around. So yeah, definitely check out A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. You will not be disappointed. All right, folks, have yourselves a great one. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.